Quick announcement, go to my channel description for the link to join my new Discord server. First 101 members get an exclusive role. Talents are a fundamental part of Battle Cats and can take an utterly useless unit to an insanely broken one. Talents are upgradable abilities that can be unlocked by using NP, which you can get by exchanging units. There are other ways, but usually that's the main one, exchanging them like how you exchange units for XP. But there is a problem. Not all cats have talents, so today I will be creating talents for units I think need it most. Stick to the end of the video to see our special guest, Mr. Cat, react to them. Now the important thing to remember when creating talents is that you want to make the unit better, you want to buff them, but you don't want to change the unit completely. You want to keep the core concept of the unit intact, like you don't want to make Tank Cat a nuker if you understand what I'm saying. At the same time, talents should be interesting. While stat buffs are often needed, I believe the talents should have at least 1 or 2 upgrades that can really improve the way it's played, modify it but not deviate from the core idea of the unit. With all that being said, let's get into improving these units. Gray's Monaco is a unit that has been overlooked for a long time. I remember I thought that normal Monaco was broken when I started the game because of her low cost and high DPS at the time. Over time though, I saw her weaknesses. Now while Craze Monaco is overall just a better version of Monaco, her weaknesses are still prevalent. By the time you've unlocked her, if at all, she's basically redundant and useless, not even niche. I want to change that. Now I know Craze Monaco doesn't have a true form, but I'm gonna skip over that and ignore that. Let's just pretend that her true form isn't game changing. Like it's good, but it's not game changing. Like hopefully this true form doesn't make her Homelander himself, you know? Anyways, the first talent I have is lowering the cooldown of the unit. The main problem of Craze Monaco is her insanely slow recharge time, which is extremely unjustifiable. It should not be that long. I suggest a talent that reduces her recharge time by 2 seconds per upgrade. This would make her much more valuable as a crit unit because with metal enemies, you really like the more spammable, easily replaceable units than the long big ones. Even though Paladin is like kind of a heavier unit, he's still cheap, recharges fast, and is easily expendable. You know, it's very easy to stack Paladin cats. It's not that easy to stack Craze Monacos. Her second talent, I want to make her health higher. She often dies before landing an important hit. Perhaps this could be a 10% increase in health per upgrade. This will make her just more tanky and more viable. Metal enemies often have pretty solid DPS, and this could help her just survive better against them. Again, she's a little too squishy right now. Now for her third talent, I want to give her area attack. Craze Monaco could be a much more viable unit if she had area attack. The problem with Craze Monaco is that she often hits a peon instead of the main enemy. You know, because of her long attack animations, she either just blatantly misses because the enemy gets knocked back or something, or she hits a peon, which is extremely frustrating considering her long recharge, blah 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 blah. Now for her fourth talent, I want to give her just higher damage. Pretty generic, but this can make it so that she almost one-shots a metal enemy, which is important because especially if it's like a bigger metal enemy, you don't want her to charge up all this time and just, you know, not kill them. So I think giving like a 5% DPS increase per upgrade is pretty reasonable. I mean, she's getting on the strong side now if you get all these talents, but still within reason. I really want her to feel more like a little nuker rather than, you know, the pathetic unit she is right now. Now for her fifth talent, I want to give her an ability. Knockback. Now this is an interesting one. Craze Monaco, even with all these talents, is still kind of generic, you know, like there's other units that, you know, have a lot of damage, they can crit, they can do all this stuff that this Craze Monaco can do with these talents. So I want to give her knockback to give her sort of a crowd control kind of thing. Now knockback isn't the best ability, it's probably the second worst one, but still give her like a place in the meta, sort of like a high damage, mid recharge time, decent attack rates, high health, kind of tank. It's kind of like a blend of all these cool little subgenre anti-metal units. Like imagine you use her as a tank, but she can also crowd control as well. It gives her a really interesting place in the meta. I think you should have to purchase it, so maybe like 50 NP to purchase it, and each upgrade is like a 2% increase in chance to knock back. I don't want to make it guaranteed. Now we have successfully turned Monaco into a very useless unit into a more stronger, not really a generalist, but more like generally good against all metal enemies. I think the combination of her and Paladin Cat and maybe some metal crowd controller can make a really strong combination. Now what does Mr. Cat think about these talents? Let's hear it from him.
For Craze Monaco, lower cooldown is a very cool addition, but I feel like 2 seconds is nothing for a unit with a 35-second cooldown. On average, you're making her about 6% more spammable, which doesn't really feel like enough to make a serious difference. I'd increase it to 5 seconds for a 30-second cooldown instead. 100% HP stat up is really good. It'll give a level 30 Craze Monaco just about 50k HP, which will definitely help her shine against mixed metal stages, especially with the crazy stats we see nowadays on enemies. Attack up is where we are really talking. Doubling the damage output of a unit like Craze Monaco will definitely make her a top critter, that will potentially even rival Sova when it comes to single target DPS. Great talent. Area attack is really crazy, like it will undoubtedly make her better than Sova, but I don't know if I really like it though, because it will definitely invalidate some existing options and make the game slightly more stale because everyone will be using her as their critter of choice. I feel like you thought about making her the best instead of trying to make her fit more in the game's meta. And finally, giving her a knockback niche is cool. Medals are melee enemies that effectively stand there as RNG walls, shielding stronger enemies, so knockback really works really well on them.
Thank you for that, Mr. Cat. Let's move on to my next unit. This is a unit that is already pretty good in the meta, but I feel like could use a little bit of a boost. Rock Cat. Now once again, Rock Cat does not have a true form, but we're gonna ignore that because I think Rock Cat is a really interesting unit and I really want to give talents to him. Rock Cat is a unit that you see once in a while, maybe on like floor 40, but he's pretty niche. Like you hardly ever see him on a consistent basis. Sometimes you might use him in like unit restrict stages, but overall, Crazed Eraser is just a better version of him. I want to make him a little less niche and a little more mainstream. Alright, so for the first talent, it's pretty simple. Just higher DPS. Yes, Rock Cat is a meat shield more than a chip damager, but I want to increase his damage input to make him a better chip damager, if that makes sense. This would also make him better against peons as well, like maybe he can take one of them out. I think a good 2.5% increase per upgrade is reasonable. I think that would be more than enough. Now for his second talent, I want him to last slightly longer after breaking. Now the main point of why you use Rocklet is that after breaking, he has unlimited HP because they can't progress passive. But the thing is, he kind of breaks a little too early and I feel like this could be a little bit better. So maybe make the time after he breaks a little bit longer, not even that much, but I feel like this would just make him much better and much more usable in most cases. And upgrading his most important aspect will make him less niche and more mainstream. I think maybe like a 0.25 seconds more longer lasting is pretty reasonable. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. He's still a spammer, so you don't want to make it too long, but I feel like this would make him much more mainstream. Now for his third talent, I want him to lower his recharge time. Now, yes, he is a spammable unit. I don't want to make him too spammable, but I feel like he could be a little more spammable than he is right now. Nothing much. We don't want to make him overpowered in another Courier Cat, but maybe like just realized I've been calling Rock Cat when it's actually called Boulder Cat, but I think Rock Cat sounds better. I would say maybe 0.10 seconds per upgrade or 10 milliseconds per upgrade. Now this seems really small, but remember his recharge time is like 4.87 seconds. So fully upgrading him would make him 3.87 seconds, which is pretty good. For the fourth talent, I want to give Rockcat a chance to deal a critical hit, which make him more useful against metal enemies and also make his damage output more significant, so make him a better chip damager. This could just improve him and give him sort of another niche in the metal enemies. Like imagine you have a rock cat and you just throw him at the small little doge peon and it takes him out. That's just pretty useful. That's all he needs to do and he's a meat shield after. I'd say you unlock it for 50 NP and then from there it'd be like a 2.5 increase per upgrade. So at the end it could be like a 26% chance to crit, which I think is pretty good. And for the fifth talent, I'm adding another ability. Knockback. Yes, I know, he might become overpowered. Rockcat is a pretty niche meat shield as of now, but adding knockback even for a single attack could be revolutionary. Like imagine using Rockcat to hit back Filibuster. I mean, this is a very extreme option and it'll probably completely counter Filibuster, but Filibuster stage is still easy anyway. You can defeat it without Rockcat. It's one of the easiest stages. Now the thing about knockback is I don't want it to be guaranteed. The thing is if it's guaranteed and let's say he also gets the recharge time talent, then bosses basically can't attack, which is not what I want. It's too overpowered. It'll make such a brain dead game. So I'll give it, let's say, a 25% base chance to knock back, and from there you can upgrade it maybe like 1% per upgrade. So at the end it'll be a 35% chance to knock back. This would make him a little inconsistent, but still when you get that knockback could be really needed, and I think Rockcat spam would become much more of a viable strategy than it is right now. With all these talents, Rockcat might become broken, my bad guys, but if Ponos does decide to implement them, you know who to blame. What are your thoughts on these talents, Mr. Cat?
Rockcat. Damage up talent is pretty solid, as Rockcat can deal some decent damage over time. It probably isn't going to be a high priority for most spenders, as that NP can be spent elsewhere on a unit that will give you significantly more damage. Lasting longer on the battlefield is the one addition everyone has thought of, and while I definitely agree this should be in the game, you also need to be careful of implementing it, as any addition that is slightly too powerful will easily break the game. Lower cooldown. Okay, this talent combination, unless extremely minimal, will definitely break the game. Rock is already one of, if not the most broken units in the entire game, as it can easily cheat stages with its quirks, and giving it more uptime on the field and reducing its cooldown will break the game as well. Crit is a very interesting talent that could unironically work very well on a unit like Rock, since it gives him the ability to decimate some weak metal peons, albeit with some RNG thrown into the mix. Research Rock especially could come in handy when you just happen to forget to bring a critter into a metal stage, which happens to me all the time actually. And finally, Knockback. Probably gonna break the game as well, unless it is on some niche trait like Blacks that won't benefit too much. I think it's good that the ability isn't guaranteed, and it's a cool idea, but it will be fairly tough to implement.
Alright, those are some interesting opinions, Mr. Cat. Now the next cat I'm going to talk about is definitely the cat that needs the help the most, so let's just get into it. But before that, if you're watching this far, that probably means you're enjoying the videos. And if you are, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell to never miss a video, and hey, comment any ideas you might have for Battle Cat's talents. I'm sure some of your ideas might be better than mine. Axe Cat. Poor Axe Cat. He's useful for about 5 good minutes at the start of the game. Then bam, you watch a guide, you buy Ninja Cat, and you never use him again. Or if you use him, he's just in Ninja Cat's shadow. Let's change that. For his first talent, let's just increase his DPS. This one's pretty simple. I think it would just make him a better melee unit. And what he is just like a spammable, semi-spammable melee unit slash tank, which is already a kind of weird niche, but still, it's not even that viable. So I think it would be reasonable to give him a 10% attack increase per upgrade, so at the end he'll have 100% more damage, and he still wouldn't be good because of can, you know? With the next talents, that might change. For his second talent, I want to give him a new ability, Strengthen. So at 50% HP, he'll get a 50% damage boost. This will significantly increase his attack power, and in combination with the first talent, this can make him actually a decent melee unit. I mean, we don't want to give him like the power to nuke the sun, but at the same time, we don't want to make him too weak like he is right now. And still, can would still severely outshine him here. But he is becoming more viable, like I can actually see using him now. At the same time, his health is too low. For a spammable unit, it's kinda useless if he just dies in one shot, so next up for his third talent, we're gonna be fixing his health. Let's do a 5% increase for each upgrade. So at the 10th upgrade, he'll have a 50% HP boost, which is pretty good. This is mostly not for like his health itself. Like obviously his health is important as like a mini tank, but I think this would also help his strength and talent. Because if he has a higher pool of HP, that means he'll get strengthened faster, you know? I think this would help players consider him more, and he's more of like a cool unit to use. Who knows, maybe he'll get the glazed Kazai Jizo gets. Now for the fourth talent, oh boy, we're in for a treat. I want to give him wave attack. Now before you get angry and start typing in the comments, let's discuss this wave attack. So first I want it to be 50 NP to unlock the talent, and from there you can upgrade it 10 times. I want it to grant a 25% chance to unleash a wave attack, which would increase his attack range and allow him to hit multiple enemies beyond its normal range. We're just gonna give him a level 1 wave. I can see you giving him a level 2, but I feel like level 1 is reasonable, especially considering he's so cheap. I want the level 1 wave to reach 533 range. A little less than mid-range, kind of still keeping the melee unit, but this could make him a pretty decent spammable crowd controller. And of course, if the wave does hit, it's double the DPS, but since that's happening only 25% of the time, well, in theory, then it's not going to be too overpowered. Which is important because in combination with other talents, having a 100% wave chance would just be too broken. Kind of like a cheap slime cat. This could give him a new niche, you know? Not even Ninja Cat can clear clouds like he can, so maybe he'll become more useful. Maybe on the peon heavy stages, you need a cheap crowd controller and you already have Slime Cat. Maybe add Axe Cat too. He's got good health, he's got good damage, and he's just a good unit now. Now for the last one, we're opening up a whole new niche. He's going to be useful in a lot more different ways now. We're giving him Zombie Killer. So if you don't know what Zombie Killer is, it's just the ability to, like, when you hit a zombie, it stays dead. Like, if you've noticed, unless you have a unit without Zombie Killer, when you kill a zombie, it'll turn to the Skull and Bones. Cats with Zombie Killers do not turn into Skull and Bones. They just evaporate. So it's just going to be 50 NP to unlock the Zombie Killer. That's it. But the possibilities open with this are insane. Like, imagine your zombie lineup. You got your Shingun Cat, maybe you got Gangline the Unleashed, and then you got Axe Cat, the basic cat, which everybody thought was useless. Zombies are a trait that aren't too power creep, so adding another unit wouldn't hurt that much. And also, this would just make Axe Cat a lot more viable, and like maybe even with all these talents, he's still not viable. But in this specific zombie niche, at least there'd be a reason to pick him, you know? I think this talent would make him a pretty interesting unit. You know, he's going to be the only basic cat that is viable against zombies, unless you count meat shields, of course. And yeah, the goal of all these talents, especially for Axe Cat, is just to make the unit more valuable, and Axe Cat is a unit that needs it the most. It is the weakest unit among these three in my opinion, and I think that's the general consensus. And this would give him a moment to shine over Ninja Cat. Let's say Ninja Cat gets the exact same talents. If he doesn't get the zombie killer, at least Axe Cat could be used here, and it could be actually a worthwhile comparison, Axe Cat or Ninja Cat, you know? Now let's hear Mr. Cat's opinion on this, and he'll probably have something to say considering some of these talents are pretty insane.
The 100% stat-up upgrades for X-Cat are an awesome addition, giving him around 36k health and nearly 5k base DPS at level 110, which are solid for a mid-shield, but he still costs way too much to be worth it. So hopefully you added a cost down talent. Strengthen further doubles his damage output, nearly 10k base DPS, which is really high for a spammable 2-second mid-shield. But his health is still a bit questionable. A level 50 Manic Eraser has 25k HP and is already getting one shot constantly, and Dark Cat has 50% more HP for double the price, while also being twice as low. Not to mention, it effectively has 3 times the bulk because of its free knockbacks, making it insanely unlikely for it to actually hit or tank anything. Moving on, we have one of my personal favorites. While Wave Attack makes absolute sure he will get value, even if he hits once, the main problems of X-Cat are still there. It's too slow for a mid-shield with 3 knockbacks, and it either needs a lot, and I mean a lot more health to work out, as well as costing less to make it worth spending all your buck on it. Finally, while zombie kills feels extremely random, it will probably end up working nicely in the end because zombies tend to be melee, so it might not get knocked back that much, and you gave it so much power, it might actually work out, so I really like it. That was it for my review. As a reminder, check Rappy Tomatoes' video to see what he had to say about everything. And thank you for watching.
Alright, thank you for that, Mr. Cat. Even though we don't agree on everything for these talents, you can clearly see he has a lot of Battlecast knowledge, probably more than me. If you want to see more videos like this in his sort of style, go check out his channel. I'll leave it in the description for this video below. But anyway, these talents are just kind of meant to breathe new life into these units that need a little bit of a boost. But what about you? Which units do you think deserve talents? Do you agree or disagree with some of my choices? I'd love to hear your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions in the comments below. Thank you for watching, everybody. This is my first collaboration video. Thank you to Mr. Cat once again. It was an honor for him to reach out to me and ask for a collaboration. Now, I'm kind of going through a slump when it comes to YouTube. Like, I kind of want to expand the more the Battlecast content, but the thing is, it flops. So if you could support me by watching my other videos that aren't Battlecast related, that would be great. It's not a guilt trip. It's not me forcing you. Obviously, I can't force you, but it's just a suggestion. I think they're pretty good. But thank you for watching this far in the video. If you watched this far, you're improving my watch time percentage, which should help this video get shared to more people like you who might enjoy this video. With all that said and done, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.